what's the thing on splitting the bill on dates? What were your thoughts on that?
Oh, we were also talking about that. We think that that's like wrong. Like, I wouldn't split the bill.
The man should pay.
I think the man should
The
pay.
man should pay. Hold on. Wait, but
On the first date.
On the first date, for sure.
Like, going
eventually,
forward.
like, yeah.
I would offer, but on the first date.
Yeah, I'd offer.
If you ask me to
help
split it, I'm gonna be like,
yeah.
Okay,
I came out to
I
you
was
with my
talking
dad,
about
and he would
this with
pay.
my boyfriend's sister, and I was like, how do you feel about this? And she had a really good point. She was like, I feel like whoever initiates is the one that needs to pay. So whether that's the girl or the boy. And I was like, oh, that's actually really fair, because you're like, hey, I want to get to know you. I want to take you out.
My treat.
But how often does the woman actually initiate the date? Because it's mostly the man who initiates asking someone out. And women expect the man to initiate 9 times out of 10.
I think girls initiate a lot more these days than normal, but yeah.
Maybe by a small degree, but you would probably prefer a man be the one to say, hey, I really like you. I'd like to take you out. You would prefer that. So the whole point is that, like, the splitting the bill thing, like, you're expecting a man to pay, but he's the one who's always asking you out. So it's always going to be him.
Point.
Even if I were to ask a guy out on a date, if it went really well, I would expect him to end up paying for it.
Yeah.
Even if it went really well.
She said even if she asked to go on a
Oh,
date.
even if she asked.
Oh,
If it
if
went
you
well.
asked, you would expect him. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, if it went well,
Yeah.
I would expect
What if a date goes badly? Do you still expect him to pay?
yeah.
Yes?
I still think I think the initiator. I still like that. I stand by
Okay.
that.
I think that's
Let me ask you guys a question. So the man, okay, so the man should pay on the first date, right? Women should. I'm trying to think what would be the corresponding thing here. If men should do, it's always interesting. Like, there's never any pushback if a woman says men should do X traditional gender role, but if a man says women should do, like, for example, women should. This isn't my view, but I'm going to give you this as an example. Women should. Oh my God, I'm going to get clipped. I don't know if I should say it.
Say it.
Say it.
Okay. It's going to get.
Do Say it it in before your you cool. think too
Say it.
much.
Do it in your cool.
We all
Cancel
know
him,
where
chat.
it's coming
Are you
from.
saying like be properly single or?
No, like, I mean, I could. The more extreme one would be like women should be virgins.
I was gonna say disclose your body count or something like that.
But that's, I mean, let me give something a bit less extreme. Women should be in the kitchen. Is that sexist?
No, or women
I
should
like
dress
that.
up nicely with heels and whatever for a date. I
don't know
think
if
that's
you
like
need
more of
heels
like
for a
the.
date.
Well, like
it's not
different
like-
than
it's
age.
not
dress up
though.
like
I'm not
equivalent
dressing up in
because
heels
women
right
are gonna
now.
do that
Like,
anyway.
If I pulled up in heels,
not all women.
Like,
put
I've
that
been on a
effort.
date. I'm not gonna pull up in heels and a dress. I pulled up in a casual clothing, and he's.
That's, by the way, that's
whatever
not. Don't
fits.
clip me. That's not.
This
my,
is different.
But
I
like
don't think that.
I
I'm
think
just trying to give an
a
example.
lot of men these days would prefer a woman just to dress like more modestly rather than like flashy and all done up and everything. Maybe it's not true for everyone, but from what I'm seeing, it seems like more men are leaning that way. But yeah,
It's also not equivalent because like women aren't losing anything to put on a dress.
Wait, I have a
anyway.
question
Yeah,
for you.
that's right.
So, do you know any girls that like they're kind of doing the hookup thing where they'll like they got a roster? You know any girls like
Yeah.
that? You know any girls like that? Know any girls like that?
Yeah.
Do you think that the man should still pay? Like, let's say he's taking a girl on a first date, but she like hooked up with a guy.
It's not
hooked
like
up with
he
a guy
knows though.
Yeah,
but
Right,
that's
You're
the
not saying, hey,
problem.
by the way, I hooked up with this
almost
guy
but
before
more
you.
deceptive.
It is
I feel like
worse.
if you're in
I
that
don't think
situation,
it is. Like, he asked her on the date.
Yeah.
I feel like if it,
So just to be clear, the guy should be chivalrous, traditional, pay for the first date, still pay for the first date, even though she's fucking another guy.
And even if it
Yeah.
goes bad,
If he
if
asks
you
for-
don't like
if he asks
it,
Even if
sleeping
he
with
asks for the
another
date?
girl.
And
Is she supposed to tell
What if
him
he's
that
not though?
she-
What if he wants? What if he's not?
and
See,
we're
that's the culture.
keep
That's
in
the
mind
thing.
when I'm like
they, there's
Yeah,
like an
and I'm-
automatic like they're sleeping with everybody, so it doesn't matter what I do. But that's
we
like
go to
the whole-
UCSB. This is
yeah.
our mindset.
Also,
And
I
this
was gonna
is-
say
we go to
people our
UCSB,
age
the
and
biggest
have
hookup
that
school.
as doing here.
I don't know.
But
We're
can
not
I
30.
ask them?
There's no scenario where I'm gonna pay. I'm not even going on a date with her. I'm not going on a date. I don't want anything. If a girl's sleeping with another guy, I don't want anything to do with her. I don't even want to her once.
How are
That's
you
fair.
gonna know?
I don't want to kiss her. I don't
that
want
would be my
nothing.
question.
should be
What do you do to
honest.
screen that before going on a first date?
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully, are you seeing other people right now? Hopefully,
and
they
I
tell
would-
you the truth.
If you're led by your values and you try to find somebody who seems like I know you don't know them at first, but try to find someone who
Yeah,
seems like they're more
exactly.
aligned with your values, then hopefully you can trust a little bit that they're telling you the truth and you ask them important questions.
Generally, yeah, someone who's in their dating profile is going to highlight all the things that are important, nothing that's
Yes.
like superficial. They're not going on a bunch of dates, like one after another. Yeah, they're not pushing all of this stuff, this stuff that signals a modern dating lifestyle, someone who
Yes.
sleeps around a lot. Yeah, those things kind of clue you in.
Wait, so going back to you, so men should pay for first dates, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Going around the table on this, actually, men should pay for first dates.
If they initiate, yeah.
Yeah, if they ask, then yeah.
Yes.
I've paid for plenty of first dates.
Should men pay though? Do you prefer them to pay?
I leave it up to them.
I would
I
assume,
will offer, and then if they insist, then I'll thank them because it's a kind gesture. But I'm not going to like lead with that expectation.
I would prefer it, but it really depends on how the date goes.
Sure.
I don't want a guy to pay if I'm not into it.
And you said
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of means that you guys buy into traditional gender roles. If you think men should pay for the first date, right?
Yes.
So why is it okay for women to say men should pay for first dates? We can also say men should protect women. And we already talked about the bullet thing. Men should sacrifice their life for women. But it's not okay for men to say women should dress modestly.
I think it's okay for men to say that.
I never said it wasn't okay. Men can
Well,
say
I'd
that.
argue most women be like, you shouldn't control what I wear.
I think you have a pretty I wouldn't call us like conservative, but like a lot more of a level-headed group in the room than maybe you typically have.
You have a bikini photo on your Instagram, right?
I do.
Okay, so if we were dating and I was like, actually, the gangster move for you would be like, I don't even have to tell you. You just take that down. You just get it.
Yeah.
Like, for example, you don't want to tell a guy to have to behave in the ways you want him to behave. You want him to just do it automatically, right? You don't want to have to teach a guy. No.
You're modeling.
No, Edgar.
Yeah, as a guy, that would be the biggest turn
Bartholomew?
on in the
Yeah.
world.
You don't.
It does not take that much effort to make a man fall for you. It's literally, doing stuff like that.
Respect.
That's like respecting me.
But if I was like, hey, I want you to take that photo down, would you do it?
If you came to me and like expressed a concern about it, I'd be like, all right, you know what?
Like begrudgingly take it down?
No, I wouldn't grudgingly take it down. I mean, a post is a post. Like,
All right. And then what about, okay, would it be okay for a man to say women should cook for men?
my dad's like that, and I always tell him off on it with my mom.
You tell him off?
Yeah, I tell him off. I said, like, once he tried to make me like serve my brother, and I said no, he could get up and do it himself. I'm not gonna serve him. And I'm not gonna cook for a man that says woman needs to cook for him. Like, if I do it kind-heartedly and I want to do it for him because he's a good man, I'll do it. But I'm not gonna do it just because he's a man.
I think that
Well,
should.
but why then should a man pay for a first date just because he's a man and you're a woman?
It's just the way I feel.
It's how you feel.
That's just the way I feel.
It's a
Okay, so you're fine with the statement men should pay for first dates, but you're not fine with the statement
For a first
women,
date,
hold
pay
on,
for it.
Hold on. Women should cook for men. You're not fine with that statement.
No,
Why?
because I've seen the way like my mom, like she's so submissive, and it annoys me. I'm not gonna do that.
Wait, it annoys you that your mom is submissive?
And that way that she will like immediately get up, serve a plate.
Does she do it happily?
Yeah, is she happy?
yeah, she probably is. Like, I have a stepmom who it is.
I think
that is
just
how
let
she
her-
let me
loves.
answer.
Yeah.
Let her
That's
answer.
her
Go ahead.
life, her background.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Can you ask it again? I got like lost my.
Is your mom
Is she
happy
happy?
with that arrangement?
Is she happy?
Yeah, she happy with the arrangement.
To each their own. I don't.
Well,
Is
Do
she?
you think she is?
You know, yeah. if there's
Was
a
she
thing.
like? Does she nag about the things that your
Yeah,
father
she
asks?
does.
Okay, so she's not happy.
Yeah.
She's happy with him, but that part, like, you know,
Right, yeah.
when I'm talking about it, I'm talking about like in his Hispanic perspective, that's like expected. A
Yeah.
man is like,
Wait, question. Does your mom, is she like work at all or is she stay at home?
she stay at home.
And your father, they're still married, right?
They're still married.
Your father, he's the sole breadwinner of the household.
Yeah.
Do you mind saying what he does for work?
He's a manager.
Manager. Okay. Is he successful or doing well? like taking
He
care of the
provides
family, okay?
for. I have 5
Okay.
siblings. He's provided for
Yeah.
us.
Okay. So, but she doesn't like it when he says, "Hey, can you cook for me?" But he's the sole breadwinner.
She's not complaining, but she's not complaining about that.
Oh,
It's more of me complaining about it, but
Why?
I've seen it because I've seen that like try to get reinforced onto me.
If your father decided, do you have siblings?
5.
5 siblings, and sole breadwinner, right? One income. If your father was like, "Well, I just don't feel like going to work anymore," would you question that decision?
Absolutely, because he's not the man to do
So,
that.
but if it's his role to be the provider and go to work, wouldn't it be your mom's role to manage the household?
Yeah.
How much hours a week do you think he works? 50?
Yeah.
Does he have 2 jobs?
No, just one.
Just one job? Works Monday through Friday?
Yeah. Well,
Does he work full time? He works full time.
full time.
Okay. So just to be clear, you have no objections to him being a slave to the labor market, but you do object to your mother cooking for her family.
I never said that.
Yeah.
Or you object to
She's
the
coming
hold on,
from a different life
hold on.
experience.
Yeah.
Just stop. Okay. So you object to the expectation that your father has on your mother, his wife, to cook.
To the extremity that he does it, yes.
How does he?
Well,
is he eating
it's like
multiple dinners a night?
It has to be done. If it's not done by the time he's off of work, he gets annoyed. She's worried, like, if we're out doing something, it's, I have to be home in time to cook for your dad. So I just wouldn't want that type of...
And cook for the family too, right?
Cook for the family too, yeah.
Okay.
So would you?
Well, just one last thing. One last thing. Okay. So, do you think that if your father stopped working, do you think that your mother, his wife, would find that annoying?
She would find a job. I know she would.
You don't think they would cause relationship problems if he just decided to not do his role?
He had a knee problem. She was immediately like about to start working. So.
Okay, but if he just said, I just don't really feel like
That is a
working
little
anymore.
different.
What?
That's different than like a health issue.
Yeah.
Sorry, different
Yeah.
than like
Like,
a health reason.
It's
so,
like a health reason versus like a character flaw.
Yeah.
Well, character flaw, then, yeah.
She didn't
I
never
mean-
say that her mom was like super unhappy with the arrangement.
Yeah, I never
she
said
said
my
she
mom's
doesn't want
ready
it
for
imposed
divorce.
on
I
her.
just said that I don't want that.
She doesn't want
forced
that
onto me.
forced on her
but
for
she
her
wants
lifestyle.
the man to be a traditional.
It's pay
provider.
for one date. I'm not asking for a hand in marriage. Pay for a date. I'm what, 19? I'm 19 about
Well,
it.
so it's like you're trying
We're
to
going
pick
on
and
a
choose.
movie
No,
date.
I
I'm
feel
not
like
asking him
You're
for a
picking
Lamborghini.
and choosing the traditional man treatment that you want.
I feel like
So like you kind of have the man who is going to be a traditional guy who is going to want to pay for a first date is also going to ask of you those traditional things that men will want.
And I feel like this goes more off of my previous answer on like the wanting a family and a marriage and everything over a career and education. So that should just like
So,
show you my viewpoint.
I'm just saying, like, if you're not looking for the traditional relationship, like, I'm not saying like you don't want a man, but you're not looking for a man who's going to be a leader, who's asking you to submit to him, his leadership.
I never
If you're
said
not
that.
looking for that,
I never
then
said that.
oh, so you are looking for that.
I never said that either. I just said I don't.
Well, okay, so from all of the conversation that we've had,
Mm-hmm.
you have very much suggested that you're against female submission to their partner. So
That you
is
would
that
wanna be a
Cooking. We spoke
housewife
about
and-
cooking.
you,
No, but
you said
you-
specifically you were turned off by the word submission, like submission. Like my mom submits to my dad, and it kind of like irks me. That's you
That's
said
in
that.
the context of her, because we don't know what her life and her upbringing was like. Just like you
it
guys-
doesn't really matter.
It does
Like,
matter
It
so
it
much
plays a
because in your
gigantic
family
role,
you
'cause
have
that's
Listen,
respect
but-
parents.
for
Okay,
based on
No,
my
no,
life
okay. If someone
experiences.
says, regardless of how they were brought up, regardless of their history, it irks me that my mom submits to my dad.
That's a
But that's
personal
coming in her
opinion.
context. It's not just an off the cuff.
Yeah.
But
Well, we
it's
also
the
know in the
same.
context that it
You
seems
saw
like
loving parents, and you got a great example of what
so from what we've
mutuality
talked about,
is. But
it seems like that her parents have a pretty good relationship. That her mom's not miserable.
well,
that
and she's not going to say
They're
that
still
in
married.
public, but people stay for multiple different reasons.
But that's you making an assumption that there could be some
No, I'm
crazy
speaking from
backstory.
experience
No, but you're
because-
speaking from
Okay,
experience
well,
on
you
her.
can't apply
I'm
your
speaking from experience
to
coming from a
that
large family
relationship.
and also first generation.
you're talking about
also
her
a very
story.
submissive
Just let her
culture.
finish.
Like, you know, I know, and I see her struggling to articulate herself because she's a little bit younger. She hasn't had to argue her viewpoint, but I know how big of a turnoff it was to me to see like my dad talking to my mom in a demeaning maybe tone just because
Hold on.
he was raised
To be
that
clear,
way.
is your dad being demeaning towards your mom?
When we talk about cooking and that was the whole topic, yeah.
So there are things that
or is
people
it your
come to the table
perception?
with, and it's not.
But it could
Okay.
be a
Anyways, I do.
perception.
Anyway.
There's so many notes I have to
Yeah.
get through. I don't know if I'll
Go
even
for
be
it.
able to get through all of them. I think really quick though on the who pays thing. Again, I'm just kind of confused of if it's okay for a woman to say, I think a man should pay for the first date. Why is it also wrong for a man to say, I think I want a woman to make me a sandwich?
I feel like it's unfair.
Make me a sandwich. Only just make me a sandwich once though.
Yeah.
know?
No, well, I would say I think it's unfair to equate the first date, he's paying for the first date, to a lifelong obligation of paying or making meals for like your husband. I think if you like work out an agreement eventually, or not even eventually, just by the second date, where it's like you're more open to splitting the bill, or you offer like, that's more of like a give or take relationship. Like it doesn't, one date shouldn't equate the lifetime of meals.
I just think it's funny, like, so how women hate when men ask to go 50-50 on a date, but are perfectly comfortable with 50-50 in a divorce.
I think it's just the first date we're talking about.
Yeah,
I would be willing to split on the second date.
Let me ask you guys a question really quick. Okay. Just tell me why. Like, make an actual argument why men should pay.
On the first date?
Yeah.
Because I think it's a way of showing interest. Like,
Well, hold on.
Showing investment.
yeah.
Okay,
like,
so
they're
why
willing to put like work into this, like what?
Because a female invests in herself too. They dress
relationship.
up, they buy
Yeah.
jewelry, they do their nails, stuff like that.
But that's not an investment in the man. Sorry, that's not an
Yeah.
investment in the man. That's an investment in
But
herself.
Right.
I put in a lot of effort to be here on this date you asked me to come to. I
Didn't-
expect you to pay for it.
Well, didn't the
But
guy
he
put
would put
in
in
just
effort.
an equal amount of effort, if not more?
He asked me to go on the date though.
Mhm.
I didn't bring this upon him. He brought
Mhm.
it upon me.
Have you ever asked a guy out on a date?
No.
Okay, well,
No.
I
so
have
hold
guys,
on.
and he
but,
paid.
What's that?
I have, and he paid.
And he still
hate,
paid.
I hate to admit it, but
right. But more often than not, like for you, when it comes to first date, like of the times you've been asked out by a guy, more often than not, is it the guy asking or you asking?
I've asked once. The other times the guys asked, and
So you asked one time. How many times? What, 10 times if guys have hit on you? I don't know.
3 times.
3 times. What about you?
Like 2 times.
2 times? Okay. More often than not, men are the ones initiating here. So it's kind of this like very convenient position to say, well, you asked, you should pay. Well, what's the alternative? Okay, fine. As a guy, I'll just sit back and wait for women to ask me out on dates so that they can pay for the date. But then that man gets faced with the brutal reality of he's never going to get asked out on a date. Most men never get asked out on dates.
Well, that's just the way like it is.
Okay, but so what's the actual argument for why a man should pay? And you answered, but what about you?
I agree with her answer.
Because they asked?
Yeah.
The investment
they
thing.
brought
That's
it
the
upon
argument.
you. They wanted you to go, so why wouldn't they pay for it?
But you see
Okay.
how that's unfair because you never
no,
asked.
they asked me to go.
Right, but women never really ask the man, so
Right.
it's always going to be on the man. And then we're having the same conversation.
What do you think?
I think it's one date, and if they're gonna, like, I kind of said it earlier, like after the first date, I'd totally be open to splitting it. Honestly, I'd be open to splitting the first date. I would probably be like, oh, okay, you don't like me that much then. If like you want to split it, just because I think it is
Wait,
the
this
investment
mic is
thing.
Go ahead.
But yeah, the investment thing.
Well,
I
let
think.
me, going around the table, starting with you. If you go on a date with a guy and he wants to split, will there be a second date?
If the date went well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
Uncertain.
Sorry, guys. Yeah.
Wait, there will be a second date.
Yeah, it depends how the date went, and if I knew them before.
Yeah, if the date went like really well, then yeah.
I don't oppose to splitting. I just prefer the man to pay.
Same.
Yeah.
I kind of prefer splitting the first date.
I don't think there would be a second date.
Okay. All right.
It's fair.
We're going to move on. Let's